About 9 years ago, I was putting away shoes in my bedroom, and my daughters were snuggled up under the covers on my bed, you know, having girl talk. They're about 15, 16 at the time. And as I'm putting the shoe into the closet, my daughter goes, "Mom, I need to tell you something." I said, "What do you need to tell me, honey?" And she says, "What would you say if I told you I was bi?" And I did not turn around because I didn't trust my face at the time. I paused and I immediately had this thought, okay, be cool, be cool. Do not reject your child. I didn't want to be one of those parents that I heard about whose child comes to them, says they're gay, bisexual, whatever, and you try to reform them, you send them away, you basically criticize them at a really vulnerable point in time, and you irreparably damage your relationship. It wasn't that I wanted to be cool, it was that I wanted to be there for my daughter. And so I turned around and I said, "Honey, I love you, and that will never change." I said, it's how you decide to live your life. As long as you're healthy and you're happy and nobody's getting hurt, then I will love you still. So, you know, I asked a few other questions at that time, but then I turned to her twin sister, and this was really, really telling to me about what it is to be a teenager still. I turned to my other daughter, who's her twin and identical, and I said, "Alexandra, do you have something to tell me? Because I'm sorry, but it is not an easy thing parenting in this climate when this shit goes rolling down, because there's no book I feel I can trust, because y'all are all over the map on this. So we kind of have to go with our gut." But what was telling to me was when I turned to my other daughter, she had to sit there and go, I don't know. I don't know. I've thought about it and I've asked myself, and I think women are really beautiful, but I don't know. And I went, oh. You see, being a teenager, all the way up into your like mid-20s at least, you are trying to figure out who you are, and you're trying on different things as you go through teenage years. And it's our job as the parent to put the bumpers on the bowling alley of life so that they can whip those balls down that way and experiment in a way that is safe and in a way that is healthy. And what I'm finding is, parents, we've lost the effing boundaries. The bumpers are not there anymore. You're just trying to say that everything is okay because you're not wanting to offend your child, and because other people, because it's become socially popular. I was just going through Twitter and I saw this feed that basically identified that 4 of the most recent school shootings were done by kids who identified as trans. And the left is trying to say, well, they're identifying as trans, and because they're not being accepted and because they're so conflicted in this world, that they're taking it out, that anger and that frustration out in schools. And that's not it. That's not it. They're confused and they're lost because parents, we have abdicated our responsibility. We have taken those boundaries and those bumpers off. You know your child when they were growing up was male or female. It is a very, very rare thing. Really rare. Okay, for the creator, for creation, for nature to make that kind of brain body mistake. And most oftentimes, and this isn't talked about a lot, but even the decision to be bi or gay or homosexual is more environment and what they grew up with. For example, sexual trauma and distrust of men, that people feel more comfortable with their own gender. So don't tell me that now 1 out of 5 kids is naturally trans. That's absolute garbage. Garbage. You don't have something like that just crop up in a population. It's statistically and biologically impossible. So what's happened? What's happened is we've taken the bumpers off and we've let social media raise our kids. We've let social media have those conversations. And because we're also bombarded by it, we're suddenly seeing rainbows freaking everywhere. And I am a proud LGBTQ mama who has walked in that parade with her daughter. But I have to tell you, I have always had a problem with those parades slinging dildos and inappropriate costuming, et cetera, and trying to promote themselves as family. And I know that the real, true, caring, child-centered, healthy LGBT community is rejecting this hardcore trans sales job. And believe me, it's a sales job. These kids did not commit these terrible, terrible acts because they were rejects. They're actually, the trans, the LGBTQ, they're actually getting more attention and more acclaim in high school. They're the popular kids, and the normal kids are actually shuffled at another table. In fact, I have a family member who, when she goes to school in the morning, she doesn't want to go too early because there's a whole table of kids that are now identifying as animals. This is what I mean by boundaries. We need to put those back in. If you have a penis, you're a boy. If you have a vagina, you are a girl. And if there is some confusion with that, and it has nothing to do with current trends and being cool, because social contagion is real and social contagion is at work here. It's no different than the cool kids once upon a time going outside to smoke. Not a healthy activity, but it was cool. And drinking. We all grew up in high school trying to figure out who we are and having groups that just managed to manifest themselves in a way to get themselves a certain kind of attention. They're playing around with their identity. There are very few of us, for example, at my age, in my 50s, walking around emo anymore. It's the same thing, but now it's gotten so far out of hand that it's dangerous. And it's not just smoking. These kids are being brutalized, traumatized. You're not giving them the structure, security, and the boundaries that they require. That is the problem. That is what makes them confused and uneasy and angry and hateful. They need to feel safe and secure. They need to feel like they can take those bowling balls of life and whip them down the alley and really, 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 truly express their very normal and unique self. That is the struggle of what it means to be a teenager. And we are failing. Authenticity is finding the beauty in who you are, and that includes your gender. Even if you may be attracted to another sex or like to wear certain kinds of colors and clothing, etc. Fashion does not make you your masculine or your feminine gender. Who you are attracted to does not change your gender. And it's time that we stop disrespecting what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman by not respecting those parts of our binary humanity. Motherhood, fatherhood, they have roles, and they are very biologically gender-based. And I find it absolutely abhorrent that we're teaching kids today that a man like Dylan Mulvaney can sit there and say, one day I'm going to be a mom. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, Dylan. One day you're going to be a parent. I hope you're going to be a parent, and I hope you're going to have boundaries, and I hope you're going to get your head out of your butt and really understand what that means. But for right now, you don't. Right now, you've disrespected what it is to be a mother, what it is to be a female. And conversely, you're not honoring your male self and what a wonderful father you could be. Because a father is supposed to surround and protect the vulnerable. And you failed to surround and protect your mother, your sister, and any other female right now. When you sit there and say, as a male, you one day expect to be a mom. You will never be a part of the red tent. This confusion is easily solved, but it's not by kowtowing to something that we regard as popular right now. It's time to put the boundaries up. It's time to get back to healthy.